We begin today with Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul, who is in New Hampshire. Senator Paul, I want to start with presidential politics. When you were elected to the Senate, you were seen as the example of a politician who tapped into the grassroots and brought that energy to Washington. People are now saying that about Donald Trump, that he's grabbed that same energy. Do you agree?
Well, I think if you give any candidate about $1 billion worth of free advertising, that might help them get their message out. But I think we're still doing quite well. We haven't gotten quite the same attention recently. But I think when you look at my polling against Hillary Clinton, I actually lead her in 5 states won by President Obama. We even lead Hillary Clinton in Pennsylvania, which hasn't been won by a Republican in a long time. So I think actually our candidacy, which I'm billing as a different kind of Republican, we're pretty happy where we are.
Do you think that in your candidacy that's a different kind of Republican, that you're bringing out different kinds of voters than the ones that have been attracted to Trump by that $1 billion of coverage that you talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Detroit, I've been to the south side of Chicago, I've been to Ferguson, I've been to Philadelphia to Boys Latin School, I've been to Howard University. I am trying to say, you know what, I'm a different kind of Republican and that we need a more diverse Republican Party. So I think our strategies are slightly different as far as trying to how we grow the party. But I think we'll see which in the end is more successful. But I think the Republican Party, if we begin attracting more African-American vote, we're going to be a big party and a party that's very difficult to beat.
I'd like to switch now and ask you about Hillary Clinton and the emails. On Friday, there were reports that investigators from the State Department and other federal agencies had found that they discovered classified material in her private email. And here's what Secretary Clinton said in response to that. Let's hear what she had to say.
I am confident that I never sent nor received any information that was classified. It was sent and received. And what I think you're seeing here is a very typical kind of discussion, to some extent disagreement among various parts of the government over what should or should not be publicly released.
Additionally, the Clinton campaign says this has nothing to do with Benghazi, which is what the underlying investigation is supposed to be about. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think there's a couple of important things here. This is President Obama's Department of Justice saying that she may have revealed classified information. This isn't a bunch of Republicans making a political point. This is President Obama's government saying she may have released classified information. Here's the other important thing. The rules say that she should have it on a government server and she should use a government email. She doesn't obey the rules, but then she says, oh, trust me, I didn't have any classified information, and trust me, I've given you all the emails. It's a little bit hard to have trust in Hillary Clinton when she breaks every rule along the way, and then we're supposed to trust her to give us all of her email. I think this is a real problem for Hillary Clinton, and this isn't going away.
And to their question about what this has to do with Benghazi.
Oh, well, with Benghazi, there are several of the emails that do have to do with Benghazi. You know, when she came before the committee and I asked her questions, I asked her, did you read the cables, you know, from the ambassador? If she did exchange emails with the ambassador on a non-classified setting, even his whereabouts and acknowledging that he was in Benghazi could be a breach of security. Her schedule's a breach of security. She puts herself at risk by having her schedule sent back and forth on a non-classified or a non-government server, and also the people that have to protect the Secretary of State are put at risk by having her schedule out there. So, no, they did this because they're Clintons, and the Clintons think they live above the law, and they think they live differently in all of America, and I think this is going to come back to bite her, and already is.
Let me switch now to talk to you about tax policy. You put out a video last week that got some notice and attention. In that video, you had a wood chipper, you had a chainsaw, you were destroying the tax code. You would like a flat tax. One of the things about tax policy in Washington is every lobbyist has their fingers in it, and that's why you want a flat tax. But how do you get to a flat tax in a city that's overrun with lobbyists messing around in the tax code?
Well, you've got that right. The city is overrun with lobbyists, and they don't want a flat tax. They want to manipulate the system to help their customers. I want to get rid of the whole tax code, and I think that the 70,000-page tax code we have is chasing American jobs and chasing American companies overseas. You know, Burger King reincorporated in Canada. Canada's business tax is half ours. So I think what you do is get rid of all the favoritism, get rid of all the cronyism, and let's have one single rate, 14.5 for business, 14.5 for individuals. And the one thing we do that's different than any other flat tax, we get rid of the payroll tax. So if you're a worker and you make $40,000 a year, you're going to get $2,000 more in your paycheck with my flat tax.
I'd like to switch now to ask you about some legislation you're putting forward about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood's come under criticism recently for some of these videos. Planned Parenthood's in the videos where people at Planned Parenthood are talking about fetal tissue research. Planned Parenthood said they did nothing illegal, but you'd like to deny federal funding. How do you plan to do that?
Well, the thing is as a physician, I watched this video of a physician and her callous sort of, disregard for anything human about life, and just to casually over wine and brie to say, oh, well, we manipulate the baby around the body parts out first, and then we crush the head at the end instead of at the beginning. I think even pro-choice people are horrified by this. I know a lot of people on the whole spectrum of the abortion issue. I don't talk to any pro-choice friends who are not horrified by this. Every bit of money that Planned Parenthood gets is already given to community health centers. Community health centers do everything Planned Parenthood does except for abortions. There's no reason for Planned Parenthood to get any federal money, and basically the things they are doing are unacceptable to a vast majority of people, pro-life or pro-choice.
Unacceptable, but are they illegal, and will that help you get legislation through?
Well, I don't think it's going to be, my legislation won't be about whether it's legal or not. Money can change hands for research purposes, but the thing is realize what this woman is saying. This woman is saying she manipulates the body around. Most babies present head first when they're being delivered. She's moving the baby around so the head is still in, trying not to crush the liver. She's talking cavalierly about harvesting baby parts. Whether it's against the law or not, my goodness, I think everybody in America is horrified by this, and they don't want their tax dollars going to this group.
All right, Senator Paul, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Sean.